Staying grounded. So we're starting sitting in cross-legged or whatever comfortable position you can find, but try and stay on your mat as opposed to sitting on a cushion or a block if you can. I'm going to shut the door. I don't know if I'm getting funny light. We'll need our blocks in a minute, but just try and find a comfortable position so that your sit bones are on the ground. You can have your legs out in front of you or whatever's more comfortable. But otherwise in Sukhasana. So staying grounded, yoga is staying grounded. In this day and age, we do need to stay grounded. Humans can't fly apart from in an aeroplane, remember. So sit bones are attached to the floor. Close your eyes, don't worry too much about anything else at the moment. Really just focus on your two sit bones either side of your spine there at the base. And have a little rock around them. Side to side, forward and back, maybe a little circles if you can, just at the base of your spine. And then let it settle. Now your legs are crossed, so you will feel slightly imbalanced. You won't feel exactly the weight on both sides the same. But try and square up so that you can feel as comfortable in both sit bones as you can. You're not leaning to one side. And then think of just gently pushing down into those sit bones as if they were your feet, and feel yourself grow through your spine up through to your crown. And then let yourself just soften about 20% back down. So having kept that nice long posture, tummy engaged a little bit, heart facing forward and slightly out and up, shoulders back behind you and down away from your ears. And hands just settled wherever you're comfortable. You might want to take a little mudra with your fingers, or you might just want to place your palms downwards or upwards on your legs. Eyes still closed, go back to focusing on those roots. So gently press into them just one more time, grounding down through. This is your Muladhara Bandha area, your chakra, your lowest chakra, your first physical chakra. Very physical chakra. So that area, just gently soften again. That area is Muladhara chakra. And Muladhara Bandha, actually, interestingly. So, okay, let's now focus on our breath. So just watch your breath for a couple of breaths. Does it feel grounded? Is it a little ragged? Is it a little shallow? Is it a little fast? Possibly not, because it's first thing in the morning. Nothing's really probably got in your hair yet. So just start to then contain the breath, start to control it. Inhaling a little bit longer, stronger, deeper. Exhaling nice and slowly, releasing all of the staleness out of you. So inhale, exhale, your speed, but roughly to a count of 4. So breath work, pranayama, is a really good way to ground ourselves. It really focuses ourselves on us. We draw inwards, we draw our senses away from other things that are distracting us. The breath is even here, samavriti breath, so therefore our emotions become a little bit more even perhaps. We switch on our sympathetic nervous system, here balancing the parasympathetic and the sympathetic by using an even breath. So we're not trying to activate and we're not trying to release and relax particularly. We're just finding that balance to help us stay in the moment and ground ourselves. So if you would like to, just for a few more breaths, add a little mudra to this. It's associated with your Muladhara chakra. And so if you would like to add, I am enough, I have enough. Then breathe in, and as you exhale, think out or speak out loud, I am enough. And then breathe in again, nice and slowly. And on the exhale, I have enough. So if you want to take that mantra, do it for 3 more breaths. If not, just breathe. Some people manage to attach themselves to mantras. Some people find it distracting. So whichever way you'd like to use it. So mula means roots and dara adara means grounding or security. So this is the physical part of our body that brings that sense of security. It's a little bit strange to think of it that way, but it's also, funnily enough, attached to your teeth. So that's a one that'll go with you today, that fact. Your Muladhara chakra is involved with your teeth. So there's a link there somewhere. Okay, so then letting go of that breath once you're ready. And we're starting to move. So inhaling the arms up when you're ready, keeping with the breath, exhaling them down. Try and keep them to the side of you rather than coming in front of you. And also think of your spine and think of that grounding sensation as you lift particularly, and then lowering the arms. So this time watch that you're not taking the shoulders up as well. So ground down through your sit bones, but try and keep your shoulders attached to your hips. So keeping that whole containment down the side body there as you inhale, exhale the arms up and down. One more time. And just notice what's happening in your grounding here as you're sitting in this way cross-legged, because we're going to now turn our legs the other way. If you're in straight legs, then fine, just stay that way. If you're in cross legs, recross the legs so that the other one is in front of you now. Go back to that grounding before we move and just sink into your sit bones again. Might be slightly different. Your spine might have a slight kink in it like mine does, or it might just be you lean slightly to one side. So try and ground through the sit bones again, and then begin again with the arm lifts. So 4 or 5 more arm lifts, just noticing if this is any different. I can feel I'm having to put a lot more effort into grounding here because one hip really wants to lift off. I obviously lean to one side. It's not as natural feeling. So inhaling, exhaling still with the arms, thinking of keeping the shoulders attached to your hip bones. One more. And then release. And then pop the hands on the knee and on the legs somewhere. If you've got your legs straight, still fine. If you want to recross at all, please do. Just thinking now of cat-cow in this position. So taking it a very small cat-cow to start with, just a kitten and a calf. So just inhale tall and then round forward with the exhale in the upper back and maybe through to the back of the neck. But watch the head doesn't get too heavy. As you exhale, really ground through the sit bones and use that to lift up from the middle of your back up to the top. So you're moving from the ground to come back up. As you inhale tall again, you're moving from the top, but we're still connected to the grounding feeling here as you roll back into cat. Maybe you go a little bit further this time. Maybe you have that sense of security and the balance through your rooting. Breathing back up as you inhale from the sit bones back up. Same movement we take in cat-cow, one more of each. So in cat-cow, remember my cue is usually move from the tailbone. So this is the same movement, moving from the tailbone as we raise back up into cow. And then release back to neutral. Taking your feet together now in Padabandha for bound angle. So taking the feet together, have a little rock round. I feel I need to just go a little bit further from my feet than I do in cross-legged here. So find your grounding comfortable again. Don't feel you're rocking backwards or forwards. And then hands can be in shins or on knees if it's more comfortable, or underneath the long edges of your feet. And if you put them there, try and attach your index finger and your thumb. Okay, so you may have already started to round if you've reached forward. If you have and you're really rounding, we are going to round over in a minute anyway. So, but try and draw the tummy in and draw up through the spine from your sit bones. So again, pressing into the sit bones, you might find your knees then go downwards towards the floor a little bit more. Some of us may already be there. Some of us are very flexible in this position. Some of us, our legs turn the other way. So if you find your grounding and then straighten through your spine from that. So draw the tummy in and reach up through the crown. And breathe in one nice long deep breath. As you breathe out, tuck your chin, tuck your tummy backwards towards your spine and roll down into that cat back over your feet and allow yourself just to stop there and settle. So bound angle pose. So maybe those of you that have put your hands under your feet can take them off the lower edges now and then just press your feet downwards so that the lower edges attach a little bit more to the floor. And then release your hands from the release the pressure. And then go back to your sit bones, press down into your sit bones. See if you can tuck your tummy a little bit more and maybe roll out slowly through the lower back just a little bit more, but be careful. Use some support on your legs here. You haven't warmed up terribly much. And then maybe if you can, you can just open up your feet a little bit more, but keep your sides of your feet, the long edges, together. So rolling the feet open to look at the sole of the feet with the edges still touching. And then close your eyes again. Take a couple more breaths in this position. Noticing where you're grounding. Noticing maybe your ankles are pressing down to find some roots here. Maybe your toe, your little toe. Maybe your legs, if your legs are open enough and you have got that flexibility in your hip there. And then coming back up, we're tucking the chin again to take that heavy head up, finding the sit bones rooting down and rising up through the spine, nice and tall. Okay, so take our feet in front of us now. We're going to take our hands behind us one at a time, so rotating the shoulders so that your hand faces backwards or out to the side slightly if it's more comfortable, so that you've opened up through your clavicles, your collarbones here, and opened up the chest. Legs are extended in front of you at hip distance, and then we're just going to raise ourselves up through from the fingertips maybe on the floor, through from the sit bones on the floor, lifting up through the chest, opening up through the collarbones, and into a cow back now. So the opposite of what we've just done in bound angle. So maybe you like to point your feet here away from you, just to stretch out through your ankles instead of having your feet together as we did in bound angle. Reaching out through the heart, lifting up, but using your sit bones to really push into, find the roots and grow. And then releasing through from the sit bones, allow the spine just to slowly stack back on top of each other and settle there. Bringing in your blocks, we're just going to take a couple of side bends now. So bring your feet in again into cross legs, or stay in your long legs, whichever you'd rather. Bring the brick in. Everybody use the brick just as a little bit more height and stability at the side. So find your roots again, raise up through from the roots, engage the tummy muscles as you do that, find everything lifting through the heart, shoulders coming down away from the ears. Inhale when you're ready, bring the left arm up and just gently folding over to your right. So you can soften that right elbow so that you fold down, but use that just as security through the brick to the floor. If you're finding that uncomfortable, and you can put your hand on the floor, but you're not tipping all the way over, as in you're not leaning over, you're just lifting up through the right side body here by using the pressure through your root chakra, through your grounding, to lift up through the right side body, but then drawing it inwards on the right side body. So you've not leaned over at the waist is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it very well. The top shoulder, just draw the elbow back and open up a little bit more in the top shoulder if you can. And then lift through your left sit bone. See if you can lift through that to open up through your left side body. Maybe you can stretch a little bit more through the upper arm. And breathe. And notice if you're really tensing here, see if you can soften on the exhale, just 10%, so that you sink a little bit more back into the grounding. And then inhale back up to the top. change legs, take the block to the other side, doing the same thing. So what I was trying to explain there was that we grow tall and then we draw inwards on the side that we're going to bend towards. It's a containment there. It's not a bend over at the waist. It's you're drawing in armpit to hip feeling. So it's drawing downwards there, which will then draw the other side over. Okay, ready to go on the other side. With the brick or without, whichever you find more comfortable. Inhaling when you're ready, the right arm up if you're not already. Exhaling, draw up and then contain armpit to hip on your right side there. And then you should still feel grounded in both sit bones. If you feel that you've gone onto your left, hold there and breathe. If you feel you've gone onto your left hip, then you fold it over. Draw back on your right hip, draw it back down towards the floor. And then see if you can just draw your armpit on your left-hand side a little bit more down towards your hip there, so that it's your agonist side. It's the side that's drawing inwards so that the other side can open and expand. Think of that upper elbow maybe, and maybe if you can expand a little bit more on that side, using the right hip to ground and lift. And then release gently on an inhale back up to the top. Put the brick away just for a second. Bringing in the right foot either to the inside of your left leg or to the opposite side. If you're going to the outside of the left leg, make sure your foot can ground here, the bent leg foot, and make sure the toes can face forward. You don't want awkward feet there. You want to make sure it's like your limb has just crossed over and you're getting that sensation that you can push into that right foot, in my case, the folded leg. And then draw your left foot towards you, so switch that on. If you're not feeling this grounding here, bring the leg back in on the other side and put it in line with your hip and ground through the foot. So feel that sensation of grounding down, finding a root with your foot as well as your sit bone here. Okay, so to take this twist, either with the brick or just your hand on the floor supporting you on the same side as the bent leg, we're going to inhale the left arm up, feel tall, and then rotate on that tall long spine to your right and bring the hand either around your shin or over the top of your thigh, palm facing upwards. So sit bones, go back to your sit bones. Close your eyes here for a second, just breathe normally, but go back to your sit bones. Are you leaning back on them? Are they twisted? You might feel a slight twist in them, but try and then draw yourself forward using your tummy and find yourself stacked over your sit bones again. If you're not getting that, move your foot from the opposite side and bring it back to its normal side. If you're finding that it might be that you've over twisted there, you don't want to feel that you're completely rocking onto your left hip here. You want to ground still through the foot that's folded and ground through both sit bones. And that should then help you to lift up through your spine. And maybe then you can lift up in the inhale and maybe then exhale yourself a little bit further round into the twist. Don't worry about what you're doing with the left arm. It's not about placement here of the left arm. Try and find comfort in that left shoulder so that you're not thinking about straining and tension through the left arm or tensioning. And don't use that leg, the hand, to really pull against the leg to bring you into the twist. Try and bring the twist in through from the sit bones through the spine, as if you didn't have, if you took that hand away that's holding your leg or on your leg, you would still be able to move into this twist by using your feet. Also, the extended leg foot will help to ground, and using your sit bones to find the balance in both of them to then allow your spine to feel secure enough to move round. Okay, I think we've taken that one long enough. Inhale tall, find the length through your spine before you rotate back to the front on the exhale. And release the leg, take it to the other side. So really what we're thinking about here is making sure we use those roots to grow from. So moving into the other side, if you need a shake out, please take it. Either leg here, foot flat on the floor and really being able to push into it, or crossed over. But if you do that, watch you've not, for one thing, drawn the leg over, the straight leg. Make sure it's coming straight out from your hip and bring the leg over and cross it on the other side. Find the flat foot though, find that grounding sensation through the folded leg. Flex the other foot, switch it on. Find your sit bones, draw up through from the sit bones, draw the belly in a little bit, engage the belly, will help to draw in through the lower spine. When you're ready, inhale tall with the right hand. Rotate on the spine from your grounded base. So rotate and try and keep those sit bones steady. And then lower the hand to wherever you want to put it. As I say, it's not really about the hand here at this moment. We're more thinking about using the sit bones to really lift up through the spine, open up through the spine, so that maybe then you can just rotate a little bit more in the upper spine. And breathe. And go back to that folded foot. What's it doing? Press gently into it. See if you can get a little bit more lift and security from that to rotate and hold. Maybe you can switch that long leg foot on again a little bit more. Maybe you can check your sit bones and see that they're both working as roots for you. And then we're coming out of this. So inhale tall, draw the tummy in. Lift the arm up, rotate back, and then lower on the exhale. Okay, so have a little shake out of your legs. And then we're going to come over to kneeling. So everybody kneeling, tuck your toes for a change in kneeling here, and come down gently to the floor. Bring your brick in if you need to for your head. And come down into child's pose, but with your toes tucked. So it's quite strong in the feet, this one. If it's really uncomfortable, please don't tuck the toes. But if you use your brick, it will lift the weight off you a little bit so that your feet don't feel quite so pressured. You can reach the floor, then fine. Take a few breaths here in child's pose. Maybe thinking of that mantra again. I am enough. I have enough. As you breathe nice and slowly into your back body, widening through the sit bones now, and your grounding here is through your head, even if you're on the brick, through your third eye, which is a nice connection with the earth through your third eye. Your grounding is through your toes and your knees, or your feet and your knees. So press gently down into them, allow them to sink down into the floor. And then through your open palms, drawing your palms back slightly as if you were trying to pull yourself forward. So really connecting through your palms as well to the floor and the earth and rooting through them. So for those of you that have been on a boat or are going on a boat, this is a nice steady way to find yourself back on dry land, hopefully. Okay, so then walking up and finding our brick again. Just pop the brick under your feet and sit on your toes. So your heels are getting a little bit of support here for this one. If you're comfortable doing it without the brick, then please do. But otherwise, it's quite nice to have that connection through from the heels, through the brick to the floor. And the pressure's not quite so much on your feet. And maybe doing that, you can then find yourself able to tuck your sit bones and lift up through your spine. If you're still leaning over your legs, don't worry, because you're on the brick, so it will force you forward a little bit more. Might be harder to find that long, straight spine. But try and sit up as much as you can, draw your tummies in, and put your hands to heart center, and just find the breath. If you're using the mantra, 2 or 3 breaths here. I have enough, I am enough. I wouldn't close your eyes too much, but try if you want to challenge yourself. But as you inhale, feel yourself reach up using your toes to just lift a little bit. And as you exhale, allow your heels just to soften back down into the brick, through to the floor, through to the earth's core, which is always holding us. And then release yourself from that. Bring your other bricks in now. And we're going to put them under us and come into Malasana, Garden's pose. So I know a lot of you can do this without bricks under you, but let's try it first of all with the bricks under us. So we're sitting on 2 bricks. And then you can open up your legs into wider legs with the feet turning out. But you want to feel your feet are flat on the floor, and your knees here, when you do it yourself, might be slightly over your big toe rather than over your ankles. But here you can sit quite happily on the brick with your feet and knees in line, your ankles and knees in line, sorry. So just feeling this, pop your elbows to the inside of your inner thighs and pop your hands into Anjali Mudra. And then draw the heart forward towards the hands. So that'll switch on your space between your shoulder blades, should come together. It'll also switch on that feeling of pressing your elbows slightly into your thighs and opening up a little bit more through that area in your perineum. And find your sit bones again. They should feel nice and steady on your bricks. And find your feet, the soles of your feet, and press into them. And breathe. So feeling that connection to the earth does make us feel secure. The opposite of people that have got vertigo. It can be discombobulating to be at a height away from the earth, on the sea or on a plane. But if you can feel something through your feet that is holding and supporting you, then it makes you feel secure. Okay, so then taking the bricks away, give it a go without the bricks. Now, if you want to put the bricks under your heels still, like this, then please do. It's a different way of feeling it. If you find that helps you stay in the pose. Otherwise, bring your feet to where you're comfortable. Heels might come off the floor to start with. Bring your hands into the same position, but instead of trying to lift up, lift your spine forward this time, and then tuck your tailbone under as you're in that position. So your heels might have come to the floor now. If not, try and widen your feet just a little bit more, walk them out a little bit more. But try and find that connection through the feet as your roots here. So I can feel I'm rolling into the inside of my foot. I'm going to try then to roll onto the outside edge more to make me draw back a little bit more. And that gives me much more connection and support underneath me. So find your breath, and let's take 3 breaths here. And remember, support doesn't always come in the same way. It doesn't always come from the same place. Physically and around us throughout life. You never know where support's coming from sometimes. Here we could use a wall to support us as well. Nice hip opener, this one. Okay, hands to the floor then, and then stretch the left leg away, and your right heel will come off the floor, so you're now on the ball of the foot. Stretch the left leg away, find that foot flat, pointing forward if you can, so you've got a long edge here and a bit of an angle at the ankle. And you have a nice stretch out there along the leg and the outside of the leg. But try and find that flat foot on the extended leg. Try and ground into it as much as you can through the floor. So that should switch on your inner thigh. A bit of a thigh stretch here. And then walk your hands across and come to the other side. Have a bit of a stretch there. Same thing, face the foot forward. You're up on your toes now, or I am. Some people may be able to be down on their flat foot. And then come back to centre, and then bring the hands round in front of the right foot and come into your version of low lunge. So bring the knee in close maybe to start with. I was thinking of this watching the curlers last night on the television. They must do yoga, because if you watch the position they're in when they let go of that stone, They're so flexible. Have a look next time. So then take your leg back a little bit further in low lunge. Have a little bit of a stretch there. And then tuck the toes, lift up onto the ball of the foot. And you have a long leg then being supported by the ball of the foot at the back and the front foot and your hands at the front. So push gently into the 3 front limbs. Find your grounding effect there. Lift your tummy up a little bit. And then push gently into the ball of the foot and the toes behind you. But see if you can then push your heel slightly backwards. So extend that leg. And reach through your crown, tuck your chin, find that long back of neck, breathe. And then release that back knee gently down to the floor. Step back with your right foot. And then step forward with your left foot. And come into low lunge on the other side. So close up, first of all, just have a little rock through your hips there maybe. Backwards and forwards. Moving the rooting effect is from the front foot to the back foot should feel connected here as well. And then move that leg a little bit further away from you into your runner's lunge. Not quite runner's lunge, probably up in your toes more runner's lunge. Thinking of that back foot, see if you can push gently down into it. Anybody with knee issues in this position, if you push down into the back foot, ground it through the floor, it will take the weight off that back knee. And then find the ball of your foot and roll onto the back foot, onto the ball of the back foot. Ground through your front foot and through your hands, lift up, lift your chin up, or tuck your chin rather. Lift your tummy up and then move along to the back foot. Press gently a little bit more into the ball of that foot, but see if you can take the heel backwards slightly, extend that back leg. Nice stretch out this morning. And then we're going to walk or step that back foot forward to side on with the other foot. So you come into forward fold, whichever way you've come. And then we're just going to take a roll up here. So find your feet first of all, really press into them. And then grow from your feet. So feel the movement up through your shins and your calves, your knees, and then tuck your tailbone a little bit as you start to stack onto your pelvis. Slowly moving up through the spine, still moving from the feet up through the spine, up to the top. Open the arms outwards, face the palms forward, draw the shoulders back, tuck the chin, and you're in Tadasana. So in Tadasana, we can really feel our roots here, our grounding. So step around a little bit to feel that rooting feeling. And then wiggle your toes and find them connecting maybe one at a time to the floor. Roll onto the outside edges of your feet. Roll into the inside edges of your feet. And then release your feet, spread them as wide as you can. Push down gently through the soles of the feet. Find your triangle there, find your big toe knuckle on the ball of your foot. Find your little toe knuckle on the ball of your foot. Find your heel, nice and balanced and flat. Press into all 3 points. If you're finding you've moved forward or backwards, try and find that center point so that all 3 points feel connected. And then again, soften the knees and then just push gently as you breathe in and grow from the feet. Back up through to the crown, drawing the tummy in, tucking the tailbone, rolling the shoulders open, opening the palms, tucking the chin. So Tadasana is the most rooted pose probably. We're going to come into a different one now. Let's come into tree. So we're coming into tree on our left leg. You can bring the brick in if you'd like to try this here. And instead you can either put it under your folded leg, or you can stand on it on your straight leg for a little bit more balance this morning. So challenge yourself if you want to. So you're coming onto the brick on your left leg, which is the standing leg in my case here. We're drawing that hip in towards your center line, first of all, to find that balance. Just let the other leg dangle until you've really connected through the sole of the foot, through the brick, which is given another sensation. You don't feel quite so connected through the floor. So it's quite an interesting sensation that you don't feel, possibly, or I don't, quite as grounded having raised up onto this brick, because it's a little bit wobbly, it's not quite so supportive. Anyway, if you're challenging yourself with that, move around a little bit, let your feet find a balance, then engage that left leg, engage that left hip, bring up the right foot slowly, just balance for a moment with the hip and knee in line here, foot maybe flexed. And then open out that leg very slowly. And then bring the foot into your version of tree. Now you might take it back down and also share the brick with the other foot if you really want to. If you're finding it wobbly like I am, I'm looking at myself. Find a focal point that's not moving. Whoa, it's a lot of a different sensation. It's quite good actually this morning. Good to fall, it's good to challenge yourself. Some days you wobble, some days you don't, and that affects us mentally and physically. So on the wobbly days, play around, find fun in it if you can. Let yourself wobble. Wobbling's good, it's where we learn in life. So not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. If we allow ourselves to wobble with kindness, then we'll learn from it and we'll come out a better person in the end, really, a stronger person. Okay, so drawing down and taking that as a challenge on the other side. Some of you might have done that with not a problem. Some of you may have found, I've found I've got a big indentation where my heel was, so that shows that I wasn't really balancing properly. Okay, finding that triangle if you can on your right foot now on the brick. If you're finding this too wobbly, put a chair beside you or go beside a wall, but still try the brick just to see the difference. Drawing in your right hip, drawing up your left leg, just find the balance then. And then open that leg out at the thigh, and then find your standing leg pose. So if you're feeling like you can, then you can challenge yourself to bring your hands up to Anjali Mudra. You can then grow your tree and really root down through, finding your breath to help you stay in position and in the pose, letting the wobble happen, noticing if your toes like mine have gone over the edge and they're clawing onto the brick, which you shouldn't be. Try and lift your toes a little bit, breathing, and then releasing your tree back down, allowing the roots to sink back down into the earth rather than onto the brick, coming off the brick and just moving it away from you. So we'll take one more standing pose in chair, which is a great one to know. We've done quite a lot of these poses recently. Might feel we've done this class before actually. We have done quite a lot of similar poses recently. There's some goodness and familiarity as well, remember. So finding your stance for chair. Remember either feet together or hip distance apart. Can be either in this pose. I find, as I said the other day, my knees roll in if I try and do it with hip distance apart. It's good for me to know that and to try and take that position with my feet apart, because it means that I'm trying to correct my stance, and it means I use muscles that are otherwise quite loose in this pose. So I'm going to do it feet apart for a change. I do go to the feet together just because it's easier for me, but I'm not going to take the easy method. Those of you that really want a challenge can stand on your two bricks to do this. So feet hip distance apart. I might take that actually. I'm going to do that. Feet hip distance apart on your bricks if you'd like to. So see if it makes any difference. Inhale, exhale, we're softening the tailbone down. So your sit bones are going down as if they're trying to find a chair to ground onto, but the grounding's still through your feet here. So sitting down as if you're going in onto a chair. So it's backwards rather than forwards. You're not leaning forward, you're leaning slightly downwards and backwards here with your bottom. Okay, and then taking your hands to Anjali Mudra and drawing your heart towards your hands again. But that will maybe put a big arch in your back. So tuck your tailbone then under so that your heart and your hands meet. Draw your shoulder blades together. Draw your tummy in a little bit more. And then see if you can sink just a little bit more. So you might then look down at what's grounding. You may have put your weight a little bit more towards the back of your foot. You can particularly feel this if you're on a break. Try and ground through the front of your feet then as well. And sink your bottom just a little bit lower. Breathe. And then if you're comfortable with it, on or off the break, move into your left foot and see if you can lift your right foot off the floor or the brick, just an inch or so. And hold and breathe. Don't let go of that nice long spine. Release at any point it feels wobbly. Really good strength, this exercise for your knees. Coming onto the right foot, same thing. Lift the left foot off. Notice if it's easier or harder or different. Just be aware. If you have to put your foot down at any point, please do. And then try it again. Okay, and then just growing back up through from the feet, back up out of your chair, standing tall, come into Tadasana, on your bricks if you're still on it. Feel that grounding sensation back down through the feet. See if you can lift your arch of your foot by pressing down into the triangle that we spoke about on the sole of the foot. So see if you can just lift up through the arch of your foot. And then release. And then take a roll down and find yourself down on the mat to finish. Rolling down slowly. Really take it easy. Don't worry about the breath. Just take a roll out. Hang there if you want to for a minute or two, just to release your spine. Open up the legs a little bit more. Have a little sway. And then bring yourself down to the floor. And come into Supta Baddha Konasana. So Supta Baddha Konasana, we did Baddha Konasana sitting up. So same thing, lying down, feet together, hands on your belly, near your Muladhara chakra or your Muladhara bandha. So in that triangle, diamond shape, sorry, with your fingers pointing down towards your perineum and your thumbs together pointing up towards your belly button. If your upper arms are not rested on the floor, draw your hands up a little bit more towards your belly button. Trying to keep that connection through the fingers, but trying to lower your arms so that they're settled on the floor. And find your breath. And breathe into that diamond shape. So breathing in, taking the breath right down through to your roots. And then exhaling from the roots back up through the spine. Take a few more breaths, inhaling down through to your belly. Exhaling up through the spine. And as you do that, feel the spine settle to the floor a little bit more. So inhaling again, up, down through to the belly. As you exhale, trace the exhale through your spine. Feel your spine soften down vertebrae by vertebrae closer to the floor, sinking down. Take another breath into the belly. And as you exhale, feel the movement down through the spine, connecting to the earth. Up to your shoulder blades, connecting and releasing as your spine lets go of the tension. And then choose either to stay here for another few breaths, or you might feel you want to stretch your legs out now and come into Shavasana. So if you do take Shavasana, find that connection again with yourself on the earth. So allowing your hands to just release into the floor, your elbows, your shoulder joints, your spine, your hip joints releasing into the floor, your heels releasing into the floor. Take a breath in and release everything to the floor. Wherever you are, release everything to the floor. Continue to breathe into your belly nice and slowly, thinking of the spine releasing through the spine on the exhale, allowing the earth to take you and support you. I'm going to finish with a poem for Shavasana, which I wrote in last February, or 2 years ago. A 2-year-old poem from Mont Blanc Yoga, saying, yoga is staying grounded. Accept the support and connect to the earth below you. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out slowly. Draw down into your roots, the soles of the feet widening, and your soul opening. Breathe in good energy. Breathe out the stale. Ancient memories, new beginnings, in your spot on the map of life. Breathe in the present. Breathe out the past. Let go of your expectations and hold on to your positivity. Breathe in contentment. Breathe out all that weighs you down. Trust you are where you are supposed to be, safely anchored in this place and moment. Energies balanced, spirit lifted, body released, mind settled. Breathe in what you need now. And sigh out whatever you don't. So anybody that wants to stay in Shavasana has the luxury of being able to do so, then please do. Otherwise, come with me, take it slowly, have a stretch, have a rock and roll, have whatever your body's saying you need to do. Roll over to your side and take it slowly as you come up, because you might get a bit of a head rush there. And then come to seated when you're ready to finish class. Finding that grounding sensation again through your sit bones. Finding that tallness and length in your spine. Finding that release in your shoulders. Finding your breath just one more time, breathing in, right down through to your sit bones. And sighing out through your mouth this time, the exhale, just to release everything that you don't need for the rest of the day. Thank you everybody for your practice. Remember to stay grounded. Namaste.